Okay, welcome to Teach Online TV. My name is Tyler Basu, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Jossif Elefteriadis. Hope I said that correctly. And he is a lifestyle entrepreneur, a podcast host, a relationship marketing strategist, and you can find him at mastermindfinder.com. And today we are talking all about joint ventures and how, as an online course creator, you can use joint ventures to get exposure to somebody else's audience and to get more sales and more students into your online course. So, Jossif, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I'm looking forward to hearing your insights.
Tyler, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm excited. You pronounced the last name correctly, so
all right.
It's perfect for now.
Cool. So I know I gave you a quick intro there, but can you just take a minute to tell us how you got into all the things that you're doing, and just give us that overview of what you do and what you're focused on at the moment?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was starting out with marketing here in Sweden, in Stockholm, where I'm living, and I was working on a tech incubator, a startup incubator. So you can just imagine all the networking stuff. You're meeting with entrepreneurs, the coaches, lots of live events happening every week, and that's basically how I got how my interest started with entrepreneurship. And then I started listening to podcasts, which is an amazing way to gain some knowledge. And so I found a kind of like a niche or a unique concept that wasn't out there. And that I saw my way into the online stuff through the podcasting, and that's how I started.
Cool. So you've been doing interviews with different people, and reaching out to different entrepreneurs. So you've built your network that way. I'm also a podcaster. I started my first podcast in 2013, and so for me, it's been huge for building my network. It's been probably the best way I've found to build your network is to have a podcast. That's a whole other topic entirely, though. But so how did you go from podcasting to then learning about joint ventures and then even teaching others about joint ventures?
Yeah, basically, if you start with podcasting, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that you can't miss. One of them is Johnny Dumas, which was one of my virtual mentors, kind of. So I started following him, everything he does, everything he did back then. And then I just not moved on, but my community got kind of bigger. So I started following other entrepreneurs as well and seeing what they were doing, tried to learn stuff from everyone, and then just do my thing, online, creating a community through the podcast, to email subscribers, and then kind of monetizing all that stuff. But it was pretty difficult, in the beginning when you see everyone's doing different things, for sure, joint ventures. But then you have all the stuff about creating courses, all the stuff about webinars, all the stuff about ebooks, blog posting, guest posting, all that stuff. So I didn't know where to start. And then finally, I just had to go with my gut feeling. It was joint ventures, and then I just got better at it. Tried and failed for sure. I've made some mistakes. I've had some unexpected errors, last-minute errors that I had to deal with, which was it wasn't good, but I took something from it. So it was good in that way, if you look at it that way. But yeah, then we evolved to this one, and now I'm teaching joint ventures, which I really love.
Cool. So our audience who has maybe never done a joint venture, or maybe even never heard the term before, could you just give us that basic definition of what a joint venture is, and then we'll talk about how it works and how people can utilize them.
Yeah, basically it's a collaboration where their end result benefits everyone. So what I usually say, it's creating win-win situations. So a collaboration where you can share your message to an audience that you usually wouldn't reach to.
Okay. And so what was your first joint venture? Can you tell us about that first one that you put together?
Yeah, the first one was me promoting someone else to a small email list back then. And that kind of opened my eyes because I saw how that was working, how I could improve that as well. Because, you always have something back in the back of your head, you're thinking, oh, I could do that as well, but maybe I could tweak this, do this a little bit better. And that was really good that I want to try that out. So the first one was me promoting someone to my audience, but the second one was the other way around. So that virtual summit on relationship marketing. And that way I got to interview a lot of experts and entrepreneurs, and then also have people promoting me to their audience as well.
Okay, very cool. So as you know, the people using Thinkific are course creators, and they're always asking us, like, what are some ways that they can promote their course? You touched on a lot of them already, like doing podcasting, doing guest blogging, doing webinars, email marketing. Like, there's so many different ways. Why should they consider joint ventures? What are the benefits of doing a joint venture for a course creator?
Yeah, so as you said, you can do with blogging, with webinars, with courses, podcasting, and that's the beauty of it. You can do it with everything, so it doesn't look like a simple or boring collaboration, but it looks like you are creating win-win situations because you are eventually doing that. So why you should do joint ventures? Well, for once, you will reach to an audience that you usually wouldn't reach. That's someone that's not in your existing community already. Then it's very cost effective. There's no prepaid stuff. Usually how joint ventures work is they are based on commissions. So if, let's say, you are promoting my stuff to your audience, then I will pay you when you have referred someone and they purchase my program. So there's no upfront money, if you want to say it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's very little risk. It seems like as long as it's a good fit, there's no risk, there's no cost up front. It's not like running an ad where you're going to pay to run the ad and you don't know if it's going to work or not.
Exactly. So sure, you want this to work out because even if you're not paying money up front, you still want it to work out. So, and another thing is that you can serve your community much better, because if there's something that you don't have the knowledge to create, or you don't have the time to create it, then you can find someone out there doing that, and then you can promote them to your audience. What that means is that you will eventually help your audience. You will serve them much, much better than you could before. You will earn commission, and then you will also build a good relationship with the other one, and maybe you can do cross promotions as well.
That's a good point. So how does somebody find some potential joint venture partners? Like, what makes somebody a good fit for you as a course creator, and where are some of the places that we could find people to potentially do a partnership with?
Yeah, so the best way is obviously your existing network. If you know someone that has a matching audience to what you're creating, or the other way around, if they have something that's good for your audience, that's a good match. Another way is, and I really love this, it's referrals. So let's say, again, if you and I are partnering up together, then maybe you can introduce me to someone else, or maybe I can introduce you to someone else, and then you can work something out like that. And then eventually you move on from the one to the other to the other. You build a community with partners, and that's a really good way to start out. And another kind of like a trick that I've seen a lot of people out there are using this last couple of months actually, and it's very effective, is if you're promoting someone and they are doing a really good job, which means they should create a group or a forum and build kind of like a community with all the partners, then that way, through that community, you can find potential partners. Because if let's say that you are promoting someone and then you're creating a product that fits their audience as well, so it could be cross promotion. And all the other partners that that are promoting the exact same thing, then you know that their audience probably would like what you're doing as well. So that's a little bit a trick where you can find probably 100% matching partners.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's a good tip. I mean, I've seen, private Facebook groups set up, for example, for all the affiliates of a virtual summit, all the affiliates of a book launch, even other course launches. So what you're saying is go and be a part of those launches and join the groups and talk to those other people, because they could be a good fit for promoting your course as well.
Yeah.
So when's a good time to start reaching out to a joint venture partner? Like, should you start trying to find them, the moment you created your course? Should you maybe promote your course to your own audience first and then see how it does and then go reach out to joint venture partners? Like, just from in your experience, what do you think is a good time to start exploring this strategy?
Yeah, that's a good question, because many, especially the top entrepreneurs, the top influencers, they really want to see some numbers that you have tried, you have tested the offer, the landing pages, the copy, if you have the webinar, the freebie, all that stuff. So testing it with your audience first is a good idea, just to see how well it converts. You can also test it with cold traffic as well through, let's say, Facebook ads, to see how that converts as well. But then it's really good to start as early as possible, because especially with the big players, they map out their calendar for 6 to 12 months ahead. Sure, they have room for 1-2 partners if it's a really good match, but do you really want to take that risk? So it's good to start as early as possible. Then, of course, you can always reach out to someone like a week before even, or maybe 1 month before you plan to launch, and that could also work out. But it would be better to schedule something as early as possible and just plan everything out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Great advice. I definitely agree. I mean, the bigger the player or the more influence the person has, the more they're scheduled ahead of time, like who they're going to promote, and they're going to try to make sure it doesn't overlap with their own stuff that they're promoting. So, a lot of the big influencers will only promote other people a couple of times per year. And usually it's the people that they know personally. So it wasn't just like, somebody who sent them that cold email and said, hey, can you promote me? It's usually the people that they've got relationships with. So that being said, like, if the first step is not necessarily to reach out to an influencer who doesn't know you yet and say, hey, I have a course, can you help promote it? If we step back a little bit, what are some ways that we can maybe first get on their radar, or build a relationship, or even just become friends with them before asking them to promote us? What are some ways that you tend to get on somebody's radar before you ever pitch a joint venture to them?
For sure, my number one tip would be referrals.
Okay.
Because still it might look like a cold approach, but it's not, because if you have a mutual friend and you are trusted from that mutual friend, then they will automatically trust you for starting out, and then you can build on that relationship. So referring is probably the best way to go at it. But then from existing communities, just try to give value somehow if they are asking for feedback or anything like that. From existing communities, you can just reach out to them much easier, especially if they are asking for feedback.
Okay, great tips. Okay, so let's say that we've found somebody that would make a good joint venture partner. We've reached out to them. They've agreed that they're going to help promote our course to their audience. So how does that work? How do we put this together? What do you think is a common way for a joint venture to work in the online course world?
So the number one key is to always try to motivate your partners. Don't pressure them to promote, but try to motivate them. And are you looking, by the way, for a kind of step-by-step, or maybe how it usually looks like?
Well, yeah. What's like just the typical? What's the typical arrangement? Are Are you hoping that they just email their list, or are you maybe going to do a webinar with them? What's a good approach to take to get your offer in front of their audience?
Okay, perfect. So you could do webinars, which is really good. I'm actually doing them right now. But then, so the first step, obviously, you want them to sign up as an affiliate partner, so they have all the stuff they need to. So their own affiliate link. If you have promotion materials such as swipe copies for email, social media, graphics, all that stuff. And then you should always have a promotion calendar as well. So, and this works really good with the question you asked before. Not only how to set everything up, but will they email, will they not, and how early do you want to reach out to them? Because if you have a lot of promotion material, especially email, and you have a promotion calendar, then they can easily put everything into their email service and just schedule everything so it goes out at the right time instead of doing everything last minute. And that's a good way to find out not only if they promote your stuff, but to find out that they have everything they need from you. And if they want to do additional stuff, such as maybe a blog post, a webinar, or a podcast interview, I think that's a big bonus, and you should obviously do it.
Okay, great tips. Are there any mistakes that we can avoid? You've done quite a few of these, and so you told me you've made quite a few mistakes that you've learned from. So if you could just tell us those mistakes up front so we don't have to make them. What are 2 or 3 things that we should not do when we're trying to do joint ventures?
Yeah, so the number one mistake I see even the big players do is overcomplicating stuff.
Okay.
I always talk about keeping it simple. Do what you need, help your partners in a way that's perfect for both parts, but don't overcomplicate stuff. So let's say you're just starting out, you don't have a team, you don't have an assistant or anyone that can help you out. You don't need to have all the graphics, all the swipe copies and all that stuff. Keep the basics, do the basics that will lead to success in this partnership to the level of your possibilities. And keeping it simple. I mean, that's the number one mistake I see when people are not keeping it simple.
Okay. So keep it simple for I mean, I guess the goal is to make it easy for somebody to promote you, right? I mean, if you get them to agree to promote you and then it becomes very difficult for them to do that, they may not want to work with you again after that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but you can make it easy for them based on what you agreed. So don't agree to give them everything, but then you don't have a team and you can't give them everything. So that's also the key. It's to prioritize what you really need based on what resources you have.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think the joint ventures to try to sell an online course, are there ways that we could set up joint ventures offline? Like, in the real world, I guess, what could be an example of a joint venture we could do offline that would help attract more students for our online course?
That's a really good question, actually. There are some possibilities with maybe live events, but it's very common for online products and courses and all that stuff to do joint ventures. And then taking it offline is a little bit more complicated and not maybe that used as for online stuff. But doing live events, I think that's a big bonus. Not only for the results, but for the participants, it's a big bonus to network and because face-to-face is always much more intimate. You build a better connection, a better relationship, and you value that. So it's much more value to do everything live than offline than online.
Right. Okay. So maybe like conferences or meetups or, just depends on your course topics. But I guess a joint venture could be, you reach out to the host of an event and maybe offer to speak, teach a little bit, present your course and then like split the sales with the event host, for example. That's kind of the same thing as what happens online, just this would be offline, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the key, as we said before, it's to create win-win-win situations. So if you have something that will benefit the audience of a live event, that's a massive success.
Cool. Well, Jossif, thank you so much for taking the time to share your insights. I've just got one or two more questions for you, and then we'll wrap up. But for somebody because you built the business online, and you've been sharing your knowledge, you've been coaching others, you've got an online course, and so on. So for somebody who's not yet doing those things, maybe they're thinking of teaching online. They have an area of expertise. They want to share it with the world, but they haven't created a program yet. They haven't created an online course yet. What could you say to them just to help encourage them to take the first step towards building their first online course?
To encourage them, people, you've probably heard this before, but just do it. There will always be obstacles. There will always be mistakes that you make along the way. But just doing it will take you much, much further than just reading about it, studying it, and not taking action. So just take the step. You will always, as I said, you will always do mistakes, even if you are doing this for years or you're just starting out. So it doesn't really matter. It's just about doing it. So start out.
Great advice. Thank you for sharing that. Well, Jossif, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks again for taking the time to share your insights. Now, I mentioned in the intro that if our audience wants to find you, your home base online is mastermindfinder.com. And you also have an online course coming out as well, the Relationships to Revenue System, I believe it's called. So are these the best places that people can find you? If somebody wants to learn from you, learn about building relationships, learn about joint ventures, where's the best place we can send them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mastermind Finder is the main domain, so you can just sign up there and get all the latest. And then Relationships to Revenue System, it's the program where I teach everything about joint ventures in the 5 modules. So if you want to learn to do joint ventures and to grow your email list, that's the way to go.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Tyler.